The Floor Academy podcast is sponsored by Trelama, the trade labor marketplace, where businesses can find skilled trade labor, such as flooring installers, and where flooring installers and other skilled tradespeople can find permanent or project work. You can set up your profile at trelama.com, TRALAMA.com, or download the app from the Apple App Store or Google Play. And remember, Trelama is always free for skilled tradespeople. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hedin, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in Mesa, Arizona. We're here to talk with flooring professionals from all over the country about the issues that matter to you. I want to encourage you to learn while you earn. This week's guest is Jean Gilman. Gil owns and operates US Fiberglass and Gelcoat in Chester, Maryland. This has been his way to bootstrap World-Proof Products, which is a flooring manufacturer. Gil and I spend our time talking about team building and finding the right connections. Listen in to learn why your question should be who, not how. Jean Gilman, are you on the line?
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it exists. I thought I was the only one out there that was like, let me think about, talk about, and be passionate about flooring.
There's a lot of
day
guys
and
like
night.
that.
I did not know. This is so freeing to me. I love it.
I love that this happened because you have a marketing gal, and
Yes.
she like stumbled upon me on LinkedIn and was like, "Hey, I got this guy you should talk to." And I was like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "We got this company with a product." And I was like, "Yeah, we can't. I don't pitch products unless it's sponsored." So, but like, I love talking business. Like, let's set something up. So
I love it.
I like that this has grown to the point where like I've always had people kind of reach out, and I asked for that in the beginning, and it's still in like the outro that I say, if you have an idea, like let me know. But now that like just randomly people are finding it, I think it's awesome to see it growing and reaching people.
I love it. And then she had to pitch me. She's a genius, and I think she was playing both of us. Like she's like, you've got to listen to Kyle. He's got this podcast about flooring, and it's right up your alley, and you should be on the show. And it's how we react to things. I'm like, when she says it, I'm very receptive because she's very good at what she does. So I tuned in. I ran a couple of your podcasts through, and I'm like, all right, let me see what this guy's about. And I was about 10 minutes into the first one, and I'm like, I need paper, I need pencil, I got to take some notes because this stuff is really good.
Excellent.
So after a while, I'm like, I told Carolyn, I'm like, whether we do a show or not, I don't care because there's people like me out there. I'm just so thrilled. So this is really, so that part is the amazing part. And I really kind of fell into flooring, in a strange way, where it was a byproduct of a fiberglass business that I own. So I'm doing laminates, and somebody asked me to do a roof because the European model of fiberglass flat roofing it's the gig. It's the way to go. Monolithic roofs. And some big company hired me to do this roof on a multi-million-dollar home. And normally I'm like very bravado, like, yeah, we can do it. But I really did sit with this architect and say, are you sure I'm your guy? Because I've never done one before. So you really want to release me? Can we go do like a little duplex or something? They're like, no. We hear you know what you're doing. So, and a lot of times people like us, we're all like, yeah, we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hang up the phone and you're like, all right, now I got to figure out how I can do this.
Yes.
And look, that type of entrepreneur drives so beautifully. We go into directions. And so the way we react to opportunity, you have to vet that opportunity, and you have to say, oh, that's a horrible idea. This guy wants me not only to do this, but also dive for golf balls or something very, out in left field. No problem with people that die for golf balls, but that's just, you've got to react to that opportunity and say, I think I'm going to stay in my wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, somebody approached me in a way that said, you need to look at the blueprints of this house. And that day I was receptive. Where any other day I might have said, no, I'm good. I have this other business. Got into roofing. The phone started ringing. And I really discovered that although how the finished product, the result is amazing, the process was very flawed. And so that search to create a better process created the WorldProof product. And it's been a wild ride ever since. And I wish I had your podcast earlier, because I could have gone through some other things and gotten a little bit better what we're doing a little bit faster. And now it's just, for me now, it's just team building. It's all it is at this point.
Awesome. Okay. So you started on floors, you moved to roofs, and that led to the creation of, what's the company you have now?
So it was just the opposite. We were doing this roofing, and the roofing material, people kept like looking at it and holding it and saying, this would make a really good commercial kitchen floor. And I'm like, well, that's, I don't know much about that, but WorldProof is pretty much dedicated now to commercial flooring, and we're trying to create this durable product and other products in the line that will be better than epoxy. No hate, but this stuff is just chemically so much superior, and create this dynamic where people will buy this product and then it spreads and spreads. And, it's just the marketing, the production, all these values that have to go into it. Mm-hmm. We're trying to control now with excellent people. We're trying to attract excellent people and create a good product, sell a good product, install, just all these parameters that you've got to work with. And that's the point we're in now, where it's really morphed into, it's funny, everybody will love this, but there's a guy that I've known for a long time who's been in flooring. And I said, Martin, I'm doing these roofs. They're really cool. He goes, that's great. You're missing the 10 floors below. you can have all the roofs you want, but think of all the square footage you're missing. Yeah. And so there's been some funny light bulb moments that have gone on. So now it's basically a commercial flooring product. Okay. And we're I've got a great crew that's teaching me how that this gets tested properly, gets sold into the environments we need to be in, and not just grab every opportunity where, maybe we shouldn't be in a certain application. Really, pick our lane and get excellent at being in that lane.
Okay. And you've developed this product, and I don't want to focus on the product really. It's awesome, but you've bootstrapped this. You've done the R&D and mm-hmm. you've created this, but you've funded this out of your own pocket by doing your other business, and then this on the side, but it's slowly developing into the full-time thing. Right. And taking over. So, what was the growth structure like, right? Like we talked a week ago or so, and I mean, you were telling me like you went to a lab and we're working with scientists with polymers and messing around with stuff, and they were like, just go home. Like you're fine. You're just go. We're going to go to lunch or something. Stop. Right. And you kept going, and you made this thing, and they came back and looked at it, and they were like, that shouldn't work. Like go get a patent. Yeah. So
that really happened. I mean, it was as crazy as, you fly out west, you're already out west, but I'm on the East Coast. Fly out west, they tried to get rid of me about 45 minutes. And I'm like, no. We need to get some work done here. I need a better product. I need a better process. And I think that your all's elastomers, this company's elastomers, really is going to work for my application. Still, we're going back to when it was all roofing. And with my fiberglass background and some of my substrate knowledge, I'm like, I can take an elastomeric, strengthen it with a substrate, and it can become a one-step process of putting these roofs down. And just kind of like not taking no for an answer. They did come back but after lunch, they're like, you need to patent that because that is far beyond what we thought you could do. And it was just a matter of hours. But that, for good or bad, off you go on an insane journey of, okay, who do I know that's a patent attorney? I don't have any of those people in my back pocket. But we knew somebody who was running with somebody in morning exercise, and their friend is a patent attorney who's also a chemical engineer. So she came on board. She was just starting up her business. So we got not a deal, but we didn't pay $1,000 an hour for a patent attorney. We got a lot of work done. So trademarks and patents, NDAs, everything are now done. So now we need somebody that can come in and speak go to market, which, roofing installer, we don't, I don't speak go to market. So what C-level guy can I hire, guy or girl, can we bring in that can now make deals without me stepping in every pothole on the street? How are we going to do marketing? I'm older than you guys. I don't do digital marketing. I don't, follow the people that are influencers. But we need that. Everybody needs that now. You have to have that presence to expand your business. So, and bringing in good salespeople that have very good, networking skills within different industries. So we want to be in certain industries. So we need to network into this, because the way people react, and I use the word react with people a lot. From the beginning, the way I reacted to somebody approaching me, to the point where I had samples made and I would hand it to a guy that was in commercial flooring, and they wouldn't put the product down. We'd have a half-hour meeting, and the whole time they're like playing with my flooring. And the way that they would react to that, they would just become this lead generator of, what you could do with this, where this would be really good. And so we need salespeople that don't necessarily have cold calling, because I think cold calling, when somebody cold calls me, I react poorly. But when a friend of a friend calls and says, hey, I need you to get this meeting and see this product, that reaction is very good. So we're creating reactions with people. We're creating a team that can be knowledgeable, keep us out of trouble, drive sales, and drive really, really good installation. Because the overall reaction is, somebody's not out there going, oh, I can't wait to buy this commercial building so I can buy some of this guy's product. It's, I want the overall feel of the building to be safe, clean, all the things that they want for their commercial space, especially commercial kitchens, hospitals, things like that. So it's, I don't know, you've just got to have the right people to reach the right people to grow it out.
Yes.
Until you have such a marketing budget but sometimes ad spend doesn't get you where this networking really does. So I think the theme of what I've learned, and hopefully people can, everybody has their strong suits and things, but I think if I just had to build teams and take things to market, I'm a lot better at it now, knowing all the things I don't know. I know the holes I've got to fill in. I can create a product, but it's going to be an unknown product until you get the right people in to push it.
So there's a guy that's really good at direct marketing that I listen to. His name's Dean Jackson. He's got a couple podcasts. He has this concept, and somebody else that follows him, who took the idea and wrote a book. Dan Kennedy and somebody else wrote a book, and it's who, not how. So essentially, I think that's what you're doing is you've run into this problem, right? You've developed this thing, and instead of doing the typical entrepreneur thing and saying, okay, I got to start from the bottom up and wear 1,000 hats,
Right.
which you've already done once, right? Like you already have a company generating you an income and you're feeding this other machine that you're trying to build out. And you've
Yeah.
learned those
Nights,
lessons.
nights and weekends, we're always hammering away trying to stay out of debt for our
Mm-hmm.
burn rate. You're just trying to watch your, because we got to build revenue. So you're right. Yeah.
But it sounds like you're finding the people, right? You started with you finding this patent attorney, right? You found the
Yeah.
who. You didn't worry about how to do it. You just found the person that could do it. You found the who, and you said, here's what I
Hmm.
need done. Go do it. You found somebody
Right.
to do marketing for you. You plug them in. You find a contractor that likes the product, and you plug them in and say, okay, here, like, go do this, and I'll pay you on a commission basis if you can sell it to your friends or however that's working for you, right? But
Right.
how long did it take you to get over that? Is this like a skill that you learned when you started trying to move this flooring through that you developed, or did this already start as you grew your other company, you know?
Yeah, that's a great question. Nobody's ever asked me that one. It is, um, I think the excitement for me was this stuff's phenomenal. It's better than what's out there. So now I have no idea who to tell them. Who's going to listen to me? I really don't have a lot of contractor buddies that, we can go guinea pig everybody on. So it really was out of necessity to know my limitations. And these are not problems. I don't mind having a problem like, hey, I've got a great product. This is like such an opportunity. And so the passion comes into I'll do anything. I'll talk to everybody. I'll call anybody
Mm-hmm.
just to get my word out. And the funny thing was with my situation was I was sitting around and a guy was talking to me about another product and he really couldn't get it to stay on the walls. So he ended up with 3M double-sided tape. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I call 3M. I'll call anybody because a lot of times the big wigs at some of these companies are, if they're good at what they're doing, they're not busy because all the people below them are.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll kind of take your story and they'll be like, all right, so you're trying to make a product. It's made in the USA. It's kind of a little off the wall, and you need my help. And a lot of these people are like, I need a project. I need a little something to spice up my day at work. And so they'll jump in. And the people that jump in a lot of times are the biggest companies in that sector. And when you get those, you start getting a lot of preference from other companies when you start name dropping.
Mm-hmm.
So, your team is working around, all right, well, these people are supplying us, and you give credibility to all these different avenues, and then you just keep bringing in excellent people. And everybody's going to say it's so hard to hire great people. And it really can be. I mean, that's a great challenge. And if you're attracting people through passion, excitement, things like that, pull out all the stops and
Mm-hmm.
try and get good people and really don't compromise on the people that you're grabbing. If they don't check all the boxes, continue to do that job until you find the guy that can do the job. Because every time I've put in somebody that was not necessarily in this business, but in previous business, every time I brought in somebody that was just a warm body, regret, total regret, spending more time fixing what they're doing, and I could have just done it myself. So we're really getting into places where I really can't do the job, but we're holding out until the people come into place and fill that void that we need. And until we get that person, we continue on all the other paths. We
Mm-hmm.
continue on refining our production. We continue on refining how the glue is made, our shipping costs. There's so many things that you can do. And then when Carolyn and team came in with marketing, and she's, our intermediary between the two of us, when she came in, now all of a sudden we've got this really bright marketing path. We didn't have it before, turn it on, amp it up. It's better than having a bad one for the last 2 years. So this, I mean, we can go back to team building and compromise, adaptation to different things, but I'm trying to leave compromise out of most situations because it hurts my brand. I'm going to fight for my brand, and the compromise is going to just do nothing but damage.
Mm-hmm. It's fun. I think I've had that discussion on here with somebody else before, and I was like, I hate compromise. I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
Because you're getting, it sounds bad because, right, like I don't even want to compromise with my wife because I'm giving into something to make her happy, but I'm not getting what I want. And at the end of the day, you're going to resent that. You're going to get upset, right? And it's not to say that you can't be convinced that, or even educated that what you're asking for is wrong and that what is being presented to you is a better solution.
Right.
But I mean, is that essentially what you're saying, right? Like you don't want to be left with the regret or be resentful towards somebody because you settled instead of getting what was right. You either push for what you believe in and get something more, or you get educated about what they want and they can prove to you that this is the better way to do it and it's going to end up better.
Yeah. I mean, in your experience, do you feel like your ego or your, and I don't know if you're a micromanager or how you run your group, but do you ever feel like compromise isn't really compromise? It's just you and your ego or something like that driving a conversation. So suddenly, if you don't get exactly your way, then you've had to compromise. Do you feel like that?
I would say yes, and it's something that I'm definitely like. It needs work, Like I'm trying to learn not to micromanage employees. I'm trying to learn not to be so pushy with my wife and say like this. I spoke, like end of story, right? Like there's things and that look, we all have character flaws, so
sure.
Yeah, that's yes. My ego can get in my way a lot of the times.
And I hope that with my team, we don't. Yes, we all have flaws. I hope that's not one of mine because I really am very open to. If you come up with an idea and it's counter to what my idea was, and you've got a good explanation, if you're persuasive. And you're more knowledgeable and you're better at what you're doing. And you're trying to, if you're willing to fight for your opinion in this matter, I will instantly give to you. I will adapt. I don't feel like I'm compromising. I think I'm taking the higher path.
Yes.
Because here's somebody that's better at something than I am. And they're bringing in an educated opinion. It better not be an ego thing where they're just going to beat me on something. We don't have those people around. I mean, it's awesome. These people are just like, here's the reason why your logo stinks. Okay, tell me my logo stinks. Tell me why. My logo from 2 months ago had a roof over it, over the W. They're like, "Are you still a roofer?" I'm like, "No." Okay, get rid of the roof. Okay, you're right. So, did I compromise? I like to think that I adapted to somebody smarter than me. Was it a pure compromise? Maybe. But who cares at that point? Because I can sleep at night saying, I adapted to somebody who's better at this. Why are they going to be around if you won't listen to them? But the flip side of that is everything that goes out the door in your installation has your name on it. So if you don't check off everything that goes on, then you can hurt your brand. So I still like to be involved in what's being said, what's being done, but I am trying to be really good at not being ego-driven and micromanaging because I want these people. I think there was something in RPM International, in the guy that founded that. It was like, hire great people, get out of their way.
That's why you hired him. Yeah.
It's really clean. It's just like, all right, these people have MBAs in digital marketing. They have attorney this woman that we have is a chemical engineer and a patent attorney. I'm going to get out of her way. I'm just going to be like, do you need a coffee? What do you need?
Well, and I think that's the problem, right? Is that obviously, since this is geared towards flooring installers and tradesmen,
Right.
we're artisans, right? We're
You better be.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And so
Everybody.
you're doing a highly skilled trade, and you want to make sure that it looks good. And we get caught up on those details, right? You hire somebody and they're green and they don't undercut the door jamb the way you like, or the
No.
corner's not installed as well as it could be. Is it passable? Yes. Is there room for improvement and education? Yes. But you're hiring somebody to do a task for you, and you need to let them do it. Like, that's why you put them there. If you're going to just waste your time micromanaging them, and that's why I'm really trying to get better at this, because if I want to grow the company
Yeah.
I can't micromanage 5, 10, 100 people. I have to trust that they're going to do what I need them to do. And I need to put the other people in place that can manage them, right? I manage the managers manage their people. And I look at any Fortune 500 company. The system works. It's been around for a long time. So as tradespeople, why that breaks down and we don't understand that, I don't know where it's got to be in our heads because we're more creative people or something. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah. But
it breaks.
how do you feel when you leave that job and you know the guy left a gap against the wall and the molding's not covering it?
That ain't gonna happen.
Walk away. Exactly. But yet you trusted him to do the job and to walk away and say, okay, I'm gonna scale from 4 people working for me to 400.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna miss things like that, and yet your name's on every one of them.
Correct.
I mean, at what point do you draw the line on this? Oh man,
You're right.
we're in a little bit different situations. I want my flooring sheets to go out beautifully, every one of them. They've got to. We can't get a black eye. And your installations have to go a certain way. But there's scale, there's hiring people, there's a lot of factors that go into. And I think somebody told me a long time ago, like, perfect will destroy a business because you'll never finish one job.
Correct.
Great is great. Perfect is probably a misnomer. It's probably not a good idea unless you're going to do one floor this lifetime, and it's going to be really, really good. And you'll be broke, and you won't be there. Nobody can ever call you again.
But I think that's where you need standard operating procedures. How many guys are actually writing up how they're going to train somebody? How are they going to make sure that the projects all go according to plan? You don't have this factory pumping out sheets of flooring for you without saying this is how it's done. There's a system in place, and you had to come up. You spent time developing, okay, we have to mix A with B, and then we add C, and then we can run it through the press, and then you add part D, and you developed a system, and now it goes through and it works every time as long as they follow the system, right? And that's the thing, though, is that these guys, they get mad because they teach a guy to do something, but there's no written down procedure manual, right? And then so the next project you go and you teach them a different way, and then a different way. How do you expect them to perform when there's no consistency?
Yeah, you've got to standardize it. You've got to be able to tell them what you want, tell them where you want it, how you want it, and then you have to be able to measure, did they do it? Mm-hmm. And but a lot of times the technical manuals and things like that, we create standardization and we create standard deviation in manufacturing because we understand there are parameters that we need to live within. And we live within a system where current production is limited by current technology. Mm-hmm. So let's just say nothing is going to be perfect. So we're going to live within a 58 mil thick wear layer and a 64 mil. And we think that the robotics can answer that thin line. If we go up to 100 mil thick wear layer, we've just lost money. If we go down to a 35 mil wear layer, we've ruined the customer experience. They're going to wear through the floor. So the parameters within reality become important. And that's a whole nother discussion that I've had to become lucid with. You know, what we're trying to really do right now is, I feel like every problem that we can have through all this process can be solved by revenue. We don't have to worry about what the expenses are if we have huge revenue. We don't care how much we have to pay people to get the best people because we have great revenue. So the cost cutting, the expense, these people writing the expense sheets, they kind of scare me because, yeah, it's good to cut costs when you can, but I'm going to take all that effort and I'm going to create a great sales force, and we're going to create revenue, and that's going to solve all our expense problems, our staffing problems, our morale problems, anything that you're going to have, I think can be offset with great revenue.
Well, of course, when
you
you have income, you can afford more things, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You can afford to put the pool table in the break room and let your people play pool at lunch or whatever, right? Like, you can build that crazy California internet business or whatever. But
I think a great story and a great product. You know, I'm not the smartest guy. I just, but one of my cheerleaders in this whole business, a great installer on the East Coast. I think some of his family, they're very educated, and he's just a great installer. I mean, that's what he wants to do, and he's very good at it. And he always says to people, I don't care about your IQ, show me your W-2. The guy is a riot. It's just like, I make more money than these PhDs. And I don't care if they're smarter than me because I'm better at what I do. And, you know, this whole discussion of bringing in great people, adapting to what they say, there's so many lessons to be learned that sometimes, like, you and I can talk and people can listen to what we're trying to get across to each other and to other people, and skip some of the pitfalls that we've all been through.
Yes.
You know, you with staffing, me with chemicals, or the lack of you know, a degree in chemistry, and yet I'm trying to create things that you couldn't produce what I came up with 4 years ago. We had to bring the technology into place to produce what I wanted to produce. I mean, that's absurd, but here we are now, and we're producing it. So, you know, if people have a great idea, I think it's best if your great idea can be made. That would be awesome. If you decide to create something that can't be produced, you're going to be in for an interesting ride, like we've been into. But we brought some standards up to, and some machinery up to, where we can now make things the way I see it, my vision of how it should be made. And now we're creating a product in a market within a market. And I don't think anybody can really jump on what we're doing for several years, because they'd have to go through all the things that I've been through. And so that's kind of you know, building a brand and being first to market on something is pretty cool.
Correct. And then, you know, if you hold the patents, you got 10 years on it too. So you got that going for you, right? Not that China cares, because they'll just copy it anyways and throw it out there, but it's still going to take them a minute.
Yeah, and I mean, they could be like, well, his is blue with green specks and mine's green with blue specks, and, you know, you can get into all these little contests about, you know, go enforce it. You know, let me see you spend the money for enforcement. Yeah. I would rather just have great sales, and anybody who wants to jump in the pool, come on in, because, you know, most times somebody builds a McDonald's, they put a Wendy's right next to it.
Correct. And healthy competition is good. That's you need that to survive, because if you're the only one in the market and you're dictating rates that are like through the roof, right? Because you're the only one that can do it. it doesn't always like, I understand you're talking about wanting revenue, and that's great, right? Like, if you're the only one that has this product, you can essentially charge whatever you want to be able to do it, and you'll get that revenue you want. But if somebody else comes next to you and you have to start really evaluating how much can we get done in a day, what do we need to make a day, how do I make all these numbers work, you become a little bit more competitive. And not that you can't compete at the top of the market, but it does make you evaluate things in a different way. And so there is healthy competition out there, and not everyone's out to, everyone in this industry obviously is they're always worried about the hack and the low ballers, and I can't do this, and I can't sell for that in my area. It's never going to happen. It's too much. I don't know how you guys get that kind of money. Man, bump everything up 10%. If you make $1 on something, charge $1.10. See how many bids you lose. It all goes back to it. Like you said, you want to start getting that revenue so you can hire the right people and put them in place.
Yep.
The contractors listening to this that are struggling to find good people and say they can't afford them, you guys are in the same boat. You got to charge 10 cents more, charge 50 cents more, a quarter, start somewhere and build it up, get that revenue coming in so you can afford to pay somebody $20 an hour instead of 15 in your area. If all of the apprentices and helpers or whatever are making $15 an hour in your area, what if you could afford to pay somebody 20? How many more people are you going to get?
Yep. And what you're going to get the best people. They're going to be beating at your door to get a job.
I hope so.
Yeah. But it's easy to talk about because, all of us have had staffing problems over the years, and we've all said, man, it's just hard to find the best people. And it's true. I've been in that situation in a lot of instances, and it's easy to gloss over. There's so many things in business that I've listened to people's life story, and they're like, I was a dishwasher in a diner in Long Island, and then I bought 2 diners. I'm like, what? I think you just skipped over some really key things in your story, dude. But I've heard these stories, and like, stop. Everybody stop. So when you say, hey, just hire great people, hey, just raise your prices, it does work. It's hard for people to institute that.
It is hard.
They're tired of losing bids, doing all the paperwork, doing estimates, and then being undercut by somebody who's a hack or a medium hack or whatever you want to call them. I don't want to degrade everybody but us, because we're the best, and then there's everybody else.
Oh no, I tell everybody all the time, I'm not God's gift to business or flooring, and I consider myself a hack like every install I do. So that's my own head trash though.
But what you're doing right now is we're kind of gathering the tribe. Your podcast is just putting people together and saying, well, let's work smarter. Okay, what has this person done that I can, they could listen to us ramble and interact for an hour, and then they said, I picked up 2 cool things and I'm going to go use them. And that's amazing.
That's all it takes.
That's so valuable. And so when we say, yes, you have real problems out there. You've got a guy that's beating you on bids. It's all been price point. You've got a guy up the street who's hired 3 of your guys away, and now you're having problems, and you're on your hands and knees doing installs till midnight. There's a lot of real problems out there. But you're right. If you get the big picture, you get some knowledge, you get better at marketing, you can raise your prices some. When I look at the McDonald's and Wendy's relationship, when they build restaurants next to each other, I look at a marketing dream, because now you're hungry. You've got twice the amount of people. Some people have been watching Wendy's ads, the McDonald's, they drive by. Either one of those could get that business. So if I'm the only game in town, I still have to be price competitive with other materials. Unless I'm so solution based, it's not even funny. But if I'm product based, then people can go, well, I can have epoxy or I can have WorldProof. When you start getting other people in, you create a marketing juggernaut that now people are recognizing the material you're pushing. And I think you build marketing value by having competitors in the business. You've got more people trying to push your type of product and educating the market on that type of product, especially when it's fairly new. And so you can use that as a benefit. You might have to shave some revenue points off, but you'll get it back in customer flow.
Well, now you're talking about building a brand instead of advertising.
Or creating a market for a product.
Correct. I mean, I think, yeah. I mean, you got to create the market, but within that market, you're building a brand as you create the market, because you're not going out and just straight advertising, right? Like McDonald's can put an ad up, or Nike puts an ad up, but at the end, we all recognize the arches. We all recognize the swoosh. We recognize the little red-haired girl. We recognize Wendy. There's been a brand built around the advertising. So now it's in your face. Go eat our food. It's 99-cent cheeseburger day or whatever it's going to be.
Right.
But there's also an experience, right? So the greatest example is you walk in a restaurant and you ask for what kind of drink would you ask for?
Milkshake.
Oh, well, okay. See, like that's so out there. That's funny. You
See, I brought that back around on you.
You did, because that's not where it was supposed to go. Because everybody else knows to say a Coke. But you don't go in and ask for a Pepsi, right? Like you go in, you ask for a Coke. They've built an experience of like, this is what I ask for, and like for the longest time, like if you watch a Coca-Cola commercial, everyone's smiling and they're all so like Coke brings happiness. Like it's
right.
It's this experience that's built into it. And so, no, you can't sell yourself at a higher rate, and you can't sell your product until you build that experience. You can't walk in a house and measure a couple of rooms and throw a number out there. Nobody cares. Yeah. That's what all your lowballing competitors are doing, and why they're so cheap. If you walk in and you sell an experience and you sell your brand, now you can afford to be $1,000 more than the next guy.
Yeah, I love it.
But I think that's what you're starting to work on is, you're building, not only are you developing a product and a market for it, but you're going to have to develop that brand within it. Like you got to do 3 things at once. But if you realize that, and Carolyn realizes that, you're already ahead of the 8 ball.
Yeah. And you just nailed it, because it's a reaction. I always go back to reaction, how I react to things, how the people react to our product, your installation. Were the guys nice? Did it come out pretty? Is it clean? They don't sit around and go, oh, I wish I had a building so I could buy some LVT.
Correct.
It's just kind of but the reaction to the room, when somebody walks into a room and says, wow, this whole room is just put together really cool. The floor looks good. The paint, everything it's an amazing room. So they're reacting to multiple things. And when you sell a customer on a project, they're reacting to the trust that you're going to be, you're going to create a great product. It's going to be clean when you leave. There's just so many parameters to how installs go. And every box has to be checked off for that reaction to be, I would use this guy again, or I would let him use my testimonial on their website. I'd tell a friend. All these things that build value and build brand it's so predicated on how the person reacts to from the beginning, from the marketing, the sales, the estimating, and the install, the cleanup, and the follow-up. And then, once you're following up and you've gotten a great reaction, hey, can you refer me to somebody? That brand building, that word of mouth, put that on top of digital marketing with great testimonials. It's unstoppable. And you really can become the solution to hacks. You can be the solution to so many things where, I'm more expensive than the guy next to me. I'm sorry, but we provide a better service. The
Yep.
overall experience, the customer experience is worth it and then some. So you got to do the value add in so many different ways to not give your brand a black eye. It's neat stuff. I mean, it's just amazing stuff.
I think so,
And
but that's why that's
oh,
why I'm doing this show is because
oh,
I like to dork out about that stuff. It's
oh my
and
gosh, it's just
not everybody
and
gets it though, but that's why we're here. Is like if
but
you're
look, if they're
here, you're wanting to
listening,
learn.
if you're listening to this, then you're drinking the Kool-Aid. You're like,
Correct.
I can do this better. I can learn from, this guy in Maryland who's just like he was trying not to fall off a roof, and now he's manufacturing a product that he saw in his head. Ridiculous.
Which speaks to
Absolutely
some.
ridiculous.
It is, but it
Oh,
speaks to opportunities. Okay, so everyone's like, "Oh God, I'm just a flooring installer. I'm going to die a flooring installer. I'm going to die poor."
hey, God
There's
bless. It's a
okay.
better. I love it. I
One, there's a
love.
million things worse you could do. Okay,
Right.
you could be like the septic tank guy. Okay, so I think that's worse than
Aw.
installing floors. That's just
And that was
gross.
my next podcast. I was going to do a podcast on septic tank cleaning, but you just ruined it. So
Oh
anyway, go
well,
ahead.
oh well. But there's definitely grosser jobs out there. And look, the flooring trade can pay really well. Okay,
Right.
yes, there's areas of the country that don't pay so great. Working for a store may not be your best option. You can make good money in flooring. You don't have to do it your entire life and be 70 years old and still slaving away putting carpet in and not
Right.
and worrying about how you're going to afford your next meal. Like I know there's people in that situation, and that's why this podcast exists. Is I don't want anyone to end up there. But there's other opportunities. So Gil found a way to go dork out with scientists and invent a product. We talked with
Yeah.
way long ago. I talked with my buddy Jesse Boswell here in town, who's gone from being a tile installer with bad knees to running a dustless demo company. And so he patented his own, he created his own equipment and he's
Wow.
patented it, and he runs a demo only company now. And then he sells the attachments for the vacuums and the demo hammers and stuff like that
Oh, how
as a
cool.
thing. There's Andy McWilliams he shut down his installation business. He's now the technical manager of North America for Novalis Flooring. Okay, it's who else? They were just on. Oh, they're gonna kill me. There's two brothers that both installed. They were taught by their dad, and now they each work for a different tool manufacturer. And your names
Hmm.
are Phil and Al Gladden. There we go. So,
Okay.
guys, there's tons of opportunities out there. You don't have to be stuck on the floor. You can become a rep for a company, a tool manufacturer, a product manufacturer. You may come up with some crazy idea and invent a product like Gil and then have to find all these people. But there's
Yeah.
opportunities. You don't have to be stuck on the floor forever. You could go do sales for a store when you decide you're done. Heck, go work at Home Depot and actually be like a knowledgeable Home Depot employee.
Whoa. Sacrilege.
I know.
You're getting off on a wild tangent now. Um,
There's
yeah,
options
on
though.
Mars. Yeah, whatever. But the neat thing is, and I think the excuses run rampant when somebody comes up with something but they don't follow through. Not everything that I've ever dreamt of should have been followed through on. So God
Mm-hmm.
bless. But I think that once you get past the excuses of, "Oh, I'm going to go up against Shaw or Armstrong," oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, let me try that. But once you get past some of these things and say, look, it really is a better product. I really do have a better idea. And I'm not sitting on angel investors. I'm just grinding fiberglass at night, weekends, early mornings. I'm just doing my other job to pay for my R&D
Mm-hmm.
on this job, on the product. And then I've partnered with people just out of I'll call up a huge company and say, I don't know what I'm doing. Can you guys help? Anything you can figure out with me would be awesome. And then you'll be in the beginning, you paint some picture of, wouldn't it be nice to be on the ground floor of something awesome like this? And the people that it resonates with will help you. and it gives you a little bit more foothold into R&D. It gives you a little bit more preference with the next company you call and say, I just hung up with my production partners at 3M, and they really spoke highly of you. Can you help me with this part of my process? And one by one, you find the people without spending a ton of money. I've watched Shark Tank where they're like, guys like, I'm in for 750,000.
Yeah.
And they're like, what did you do? You go, well, I got my patent, and I've got a little bit of tooling, and then I've got a letterhead and a website. I'm like, dude,
You're done.
You're in for that? It's like, no, be realistic. Like you said in the beginning, if you got to bootstrap something, try it, do it. Don't get in over your head. We're debt free, and we're building a brand. It's crazy, but it's doable. And anybody that wants to try it, not every one of the products is going to work out. I've had businesses that were like, nah, let's move on. Let's call time a death and do something else. But my personality, and I think your personality, is let's try stuff. Let's drive. It's great to be an installer and do that. It's great to be the septic guy, even though you're a hater.
Hey, if you're passionate about it, that's awesome. Okay?
Right. And we'll, after this, we'll find a podcast about septic cleaning, and you and I'll listen to it. But
okay.
The thing is,
might have found myself a new market.
Test it. And some of your ideas are great, but when you, me, the people that listen to your podcast, if they're passionate enough to do things like this, they probably have the drive to create something better, improve on something, hire people, and become a leader or a force in the workforce where you're actually bettering your life and other people's lives. And what, I don't see anything beyond, what we're trying to do with business. It does do. We don't hurt anybody. We help people. We help ourselves. It's just absolutely probably the highest calling for beyond family, beyond, religion, everything else. This is really cool. And this is something that some people are driven to do, and other people have other passions. If you don't have a passion for doing something like this, stay out of it, because it's not going to go well,
No, I agree. It's so much easier when you're passionate about it to wake up in the morning and want to do it. So you really have a relationship with some people at 3M?
Yeah, we turned that into 3M's difficult, God bless them, but they don't like to sign NDAs.
Okay. Well,
and so I ended up getting referred from one of the head people at 3M into a preferred converter who takes 3M products and slaps them together with open innovation like myself.
Okay.
And they'll create a product using the two products. And those people will sign NDAs and keep secrets and keep your intellectual property to themselves. So we create a partnership through, and at the same time protecting ourselves with that. So what was your question on 3M? Are you trying to...
You called up 3M and got a hold of the person at 3M that you wanted to get a hold of, correct? That's what happened?
Yeah, I went pretty high up.
Did you take notes from how to win friends and influence people with Dale Carnegie? That's right out of the book, is like, just start calling these people, like make a list
my approach is I have no idea what I'm doing. Can you please
no, it's
help
not that
me?
one. It's dang it. It's The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. He sits there and talks. Okay. Oh, it's great. If you want to learn how to do sales.
All right. Who was it? Because I've got my Dean Jackson, my Dan Kennedy. Who else am I looking for?
So it's, I just said it, Chet Holmes.
Chet Holmes. Okay.
And it's the Ultimate Sales Machine.
Gotcha.
But he talks about, like, if you make a list of, once again, he was like a direct sales guy, right? Like you would have to sell all this stuff. And so he says, like, come up with your list of like your 100 best potential clients. And then you know, everyone always wants to call the sales department or the marketing department or whatever, but like those aren't the decision makers. And so he gets
Right.
into like how to get a hold of the actual like financial guy, like the CFO that's going to be able to make that decision, or the chief security officer that, you know, you want to sell a new like internet security system to. Like, how do you get a hold of those people? And honestly,
Yeah.
it goes through like
That's cool.
just call them. Pick up the phone
Yeah.
and call them. And what do? You get the secretary? Okay, so then you lie and you're like, oh yeah, just, you know, I wanted to talk to Bill. You know, I haven't talked to him in a long time. And like
Oh,
you there's different things you can try to get through. There's a story of like
oh,
somebody sent a shoe to somebody, and literally just a
what?
shoe, okay? And then they
Yeah.
called to see if they received the package, and the person answered, and they were like, yeah, there's just a shoe. And they were like, I just wanted to get my foot in the door.
Oh, that's so bad.
Correct. But did they take the phone call? Yes, they
Probably.
did.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome.
like, there's stupid things you can do. Like, don't be afraid.
Yeah.
The best
Yeah,
thing, and
that's
I've said it before, the best thing I've learned since running my business is that no doesn't hurt me. It just gets me closer to a yes.
okay. All right. I agree with that. And I
Ask
agree
the
with the
ask the
there's
question.
successes and there's lessons. There's no failures. There's
Yes.
successes and lessons learned. But I've been I'm not doing as much guerrilla marketing or attack as maybe you're doing or you're reading about, because that's hilarious. I love it. Um, I when I would pick up the phone, I had a conviction in my mind of, all right, my product is better for the world. Whatever stupid line I can come up with
Mm-hmm.
to rationalize. But okay, so we have a 20-year warranty on our product. So what does that do to landfills? It helps. What is this? What is, we're made in the USA. Pick up the phone. Now I'm on the phone with somebody and I'm like, who's the guy that runs all of, whatever division I'm trying to talk to? And they're like, oh, it's, Bob Smith. All right, can I get him on the phone? I just have one question for him. People would just be like, okay,
Yeah.
because they couldn't understand who would out of the blue just cold call and try and get the director of so and so. And it's these people, like I was telling you, that are kind of like, a lot of them are a little bit older. They're successful. They got people doing their bidding for them. And now they're kind of sitting around like, looking down from the glass tower. You appeal to them with this, again, I drop the ego, I drop everything, and I say, I really need your help. If you're on board, I got a great product. We're already, we're trying to make it. It would be better if your product was incorporated into it. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
And then you just shut up, because these people, they want to talk, like all of us do. People want to. Somebody says, "How are you?" and you really engage somebody and say, "How are you?" Seriously, how's the dog? How's the house? How's the family? All that stuff. Uh, Open them up to where their passion is. They'll run on and on. People love to talk, and if you get somebody like that in a powerful position to open up, they'll help you, and it costs very little to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever your cellular plan is, you're good. So I've had great success just calling people and starting at the top. I'm not going to call the local Sherwin-Williams paint store. I'm calling Sherwin-Williams International, and I'm going to talk to the chief chemist and tell him what I'm trying to do. And he can say, hey, you got an ugly baby, or hey, that's kind of a cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say, okay, who do I send an NDA to? Because I want to talk to you about this. They're hyped, man. They love it. People, they feel like they're valuable.
Yeah.
So they already know they are, but they're validated by people on the outside. And a lot of companies are really embracing open innovation now. They're looking for resources beyond their R&D. It's cheaper for a large flooring company to have me out there doing the push-ups and then come in with a polished product.
Yes.
And then we can say, okay, you have 1,600 points of distribution. I have 2. How can we collaborate? Oh, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful to do stuff like that.
As long as it makes sense. That's as long as
They'll tell you. If it doesn't, they'll tell you. And again, just like you said, no doesn't hurt that much.
correct.
Hurts a little, but not that much.
As soon as you get that yes, though, you forget about the 99 no's before it.
I know, I love it.
What I really say is that I wish I would have known that no didn't hurt in high school, because I could have asked every girl out. I'd have gotten a yes eventually, and it would have felt so good. It wouldn't have mattered that I was turned down 99 or 198 times, like whatever it's going to be, right? Like the minute I got the yes, man, it made your day, because now you get to take that girl out.
Yeah. And with all these things that you're talking about on your podcast, with marketing, with doing better estimates and doing all these different things, and when you get the validation of closing the sale, then the 10 runs you were on before that this week that you didn't get the deal, they don't matter as much.
Nope.
And if you price it right, you're going to make the money on that one deal, and it's going to spawn 3 more, because you're going to do a great job, and you're going to get referrals, and you can do the next door neighbor, and it's just it is an awesome feeling. It builds that excitement builds.
Yes, it's you got to get the freight train moving. But once it's moving, it's hard to stop, right? It's going to take you time to build up that momentum to get all that weight going behind you, and then it'll get going, right? And that's the point here, is that we talk about a little bit of stuff every week. You take a couple ideas, you put them in place, and you keep getting that train to accelerate a little bit more,
right?
And get you going in the right direction.
So true. And I try and learn from everybody. I talk to everybody. I'm on an airplane, anywhere. I'm just like, so what do you guys do? And it's just, I've made some wild situations out of things like that. It's just, I'm sure people get tired of hearing about flooring from me, but sorry.
You got to start somewhere. I think it's you gotta put yourself out there if you want to do better, right? There's a lot of people that start businesses, and they're like, they always wonder why their friends don't recommend them, right? Like, why are you getting flooring done? I do flooring. Dude, you don't talk about it. You need to go put yourself out there and make a big deal out of you. Right. And not in an annoying way, but it needs to be known that, like, hey, this I'm the guy. Like, if you need this, or your friends need this, like, you're not going to stay top of mind with people if you don't let them know that's what you do on a regular basis. You've got, and this goes for your clients too, right? You could have done somebody's home 5 years ago. What have you done to follow up with them? Did they get an annual Christmas card? Do you have some kind of newsletter that goes out? Have you called and see if their floor needs to be cleaned? How the dog's doing? How And look, I'm not great at this stuff, because I don't run a CRM, and I need to. And my sponsor, Jason Goldberg, will get mad at me because I still haven't gotten retail lead management. But that's neither here nor there at this point. But it's, as the company grows, I won't be able to take care of all this stuff and remember all these things. And so it's going to have to go somewhere, and someone's going to have to follow up. How would a client feel if you called them up 5 years down the road? Hey, I know that little Johnny's getting close to graduating school. I just want to check in and make sure that was like going well, and see if there, you've had any problems with your floors in the past 5 years. Who does that?
Yeah. Well, just us talking about it reminds you to get off your butt and do it too. And that's, all of us discussing things brings up so many topics. It might trigger something in somebody else that says, oh, I'm not great at that. I need to do that more. And I like to talk about flooring. I like to talk about what we're trying to do, because it brings up a lot of things that I know I need to do or have somebody do. And we just learn so much from each other. I'm lost without the tribe. I really am. We need people in the business. I get feedback. I was just standing at a distribution center, and I was talking to every installer that was picking up material and showing them, here's my stuff. Oh, that's cool. And it's I don't know. I bug people. I'm like,
well, how are you going to improve it, right? Like, you've got to go do the real world research. So that's what you're doing. That's what you need. But you're putting yourself in a situation.
But it starts everywhere, and you're so right. It's just like, you got to always be telling everybody that, don't forget me. We can talk about baseball and we can talk about this, but don't forget I do flooring. It's so key just to, and if you're going to start any of these businesses, then don't expect to be 9 to 5 right away. You got to live it.
Oh yeah. Let's see, I'm 3.5 years in and I still feel like I'm 24 hours a day.
And that's great, man. It's, what else would I be doing? Let's just do it. Let's just get it done because everything else just becomes, well, I could have had an installation business or I could have had a manufacturing business, but, and then the excuses kick in and I can't tolerate that.
Well, it's nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? Like you said before, it's that not every idea is a good idea, but you've got to explore them. And when you see that
Yeah.
it's not viable, stop it,
Oh,
cut it off. But at
good.
least like let yourself explore the option. I've talked about trying to start other businesses and I've had a couple conversations with some close friends and they're like, dude, you can't even manage the one business you have without being involved 24
Oh,
hours a day. How are you going to run multiple businesses? And I'm like, all right, all right, all right. It's on the
yeah,
back burner. Okay. The idea's
good.
there. I got to get this thing going and then I can start another one. Okay. But there's like a plethora of things going on now. And so like, you've got to talk, you need to, it's not just that you need to remind people about what you do, but it's like, you had already mentioned too, like you got to surround yourself with the people and you've got to have those conversations. Cause a lot of times, how many times you talk to somebody and you work, you're like, yeah, yeah, thanks for listening. I got it. Like you don't even need them to respond to you and tell you how to fix your problem. You just needed to talk through it. And then you're like,
Right,
oh, I
right.
got it. Okay. This is how I'm going to solve it. Right.
And sometimes it is that easy, and sometimes it's really not. Sometimes
Yes.
I need to be slapped in the face, and people are like, "No, you are so off track at the
Yeah.
moment." And sometimes it's like, "Hey, that's I'm trying to again. I'm sometimes I'm not trying to answer shop until somebody agrees with me. I really need feedback."
Hmm.
So it's neat how the mind works and how much we can put up with, and physically how much we can do until we work so smart and we don't work as hard. But you're still trying to protect your brand, and I think that's so important. Where your name is on it. Any of your employees, any of your apprentices, their name's not on it. So it's such a fine line.
Hmm. Love it. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop us there because
All
I
right.
know that we
Let's.
can go for, we could keep going and I get
Well,
that, but
we'll do another episode later on and just pick a whole. We'll see where it goes the next time if you want to do
that's,
another one, and
yeah,
it'll become the whole title will be something completely different because we you and I can go off the wall all day
correct.
long, and if we're not helping anybody else, you're helping me.
Oh, correct.
It's
And you're
just,
helping me like that. And that's the point, right? Like it's,
and
sorry
I
guys, this
hope
podcast was,
somebody got something out of it. If whether you're doing septic systems or not, I hope that you all are gleaning something from the conversations of our successes, our bad beats, whatever you want to glom on and whatever you want to take out of this, and be like, hey, that guy, he's not very bright, but he's doing something. So I've got a great shot, and hey, take that away. I don't care.
you know what? I can't wait for the septic contractor to start listening because he just needs business advice. And he emails me just super salty, like, dude, really? You hate me that much? That'd
Don't
be
be
great.
hating,
I'll know I've made it
but
when the septic contractor emails me about this episode.
if we get
um,
that whole union up in arms, we're gonna have problems, you and I.
oh man. No, all right. So if people wanted to reach out to you, talk to you because they like what you got to say, where can they find you? How do they reach out to you?
Yeah, just jump on worldproof.net. Uh, Start going through what we're doing, what our vision is. Um, we're brand building. We're putting people together, and we're manufacturing a really neat product. So that would be probably the best thing is to go on the website and check us out. That would be phenomenal. And any feedback, we're looking for it. We really are. We're in this growth period, and it's just such a neat time to be able to adapt and still take the feedback, learn what specs we need to meet, what testing we still have to do. We're just in a great stage right now where we can be reactive to what people need because we're a durable product. And I think we're going to beat up some epoxy pretty shortly here. So that's
Okay.
our first low hanging fruit, I think.
Okay. Well,
Good.
Gil, thank you very
I,
much. I appreciate your time.
I feel better after our session.
Sweet. Good. That's I'll send out the therapy bill. That's gonna be more
And I
expensive than the podcast bill, but don't worry.
I can't even get off the couch. This couch is comfy, man. I'm not leaving.
Good thing it's your couch.
All
Oh,
right, brother.
thank you. And I'm sure we will talk soon. I'll send you a message with some questions, and I will put this thing together.
Well, it was great. A lot of fun.
Awesome. Talk to you later.
All right.
Bye. That's all the time we have for this week. To keep the conversation going, head on over to the Floor Academy Facebook group. Be sure to subscribe so you can hear each and every episode. We can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and most major podcast directories. Don't forget to leave a review and let us know what you think about the show. If you would like to be a guest, have questions or feedback, you can email us at flooracademypodcast@gmail.com. You can help support the show by becoming a patron over at www.patreon.com/flooracademy. Remember to learn well you earn.